I think about being here, I think about ancestors. And I think it would be wrong if we didn't proceed without acknowledging that. First of all, I was informed when I came here that this is where Edward Said's funeral was. And so it's incredibly appropriate to be here in this moment. The second thing is something that Yasmin and I talked about and have been talking about for a year, even when we did the other event before, was the fact that this was also the place where Martin Luther King stood up against the Vietnam War and was so courageous. And I want to acknowledge that in his time when he did that, a lot of people did not applaud. I want to acknowledge that there were many people who he thought of as his allies who left him. Yes. That's why I think it's very appropriate, right?
Absolutely.
Who urged him to be silent as bombs were being dropped on helpless people. And he did not do that. And so I think in that spirit, that's the spirit in which we proceed in our conversation.
Yes.
We're going to talk a lot about theory today. Not that theory is irrelevant, but I do think it is important for us to ground ourselves in the reality of what is going on right now. And Nora, if you would just take a moment for us and speak to the ongoing genocide, the pain, the life lost, frankly, the role that we as Americans play in that. If you would just take a moment for us just to ground us so that we are not forgetting, so that we are not, all the way up here.
Thank you, Ta-Nehisi. Thank you, Kianga, and to this audience again. Thank you for coming to find sanctuary collectively. I think that this was a concern that after more than a year of watching slaughter of babies, this is essentially and continues to be a war on children.
Yes.
In a besieged territory where 50% of the population is children. So even before a bomb is dropped, it is a war on children. That it's really easy to then pivot to the theoretical piece to make sense of it. We want to make sense of it at this stage, and what gets lost is what's happening. And so I appreciated full transparency. Ta-Nehisi asked me to do this just, right before this event. So I thought that the proper way to do it was actually to read testimony from the ground, from a colleague who in Gaza, who is recounting, as of 6 a.m. this morning, one of his colleagues woke up to 32 members of his family who were killed in Jabalia. And Jabalia is in the north, which is now under an even tighter siege in a campaign of extermination and ethnic cleansing. What he writes upon waking up at 6 a.m. and finding his family slaughtered is that, quote, "I live meters away from them. It is a matter of luck. I wish I died with them. Neither my heart or mind can tolerate this. My uncle, his wife, and 3 sons and grandsons and daughters, all deleted." He also lost his brother earlier in the year. And as we've been paying attention in this moment, which is important to ground, we're on day 400 of genocide, but we're on day 36 of the siege of the north. And the siege of the north is a tightening of the siege that already existed, right? And it's a siege that even predates the beginning of this campaign, this genocidal campaign. It's a siege that's been in place since 2006 at the earliest, thinking about a land siege and a naval blockade. But 1993, if you go back to when Gaza is first circumscribed by barbed wire,